good evening, or afternoon, or day, whatever it is. This is a video, and you can be listening to it at any point.
Could be night.
It could be night, it could be day.
Morning.
It doesn't matter. So good life, I guess. And today we're going to be going through the Beatles' second album, With the Beatles. Last week we did Please Please Me. And overall we said that is probably not the strongest outing from the Beatles, but a good way, nice coming out of the gate.
Got some goodies.
So now we're going to see what they did to follow up with their pretty strong debut, with their sophomore effort with the Beatles. So we're going to go ahead and get it started. What we're doing is we're listening to each track, then talking about it. So I would suggest that's the same way you listen to it, but you are a free American or whatever, and you can do whatever you want. So we're going to go ahead and kick it off with track number 1, It Won't Be Long. All right. So that was It Won't Be Long. Thoughts?
I think it's pretty interesting that it's a real, their first big showcase of what they do, which is blend so many different influences and genres. Like, it's basically kind of like a girl group song, but it's got beach music, early Carl Perkins, Elvis type of guitar, and the vocals are really unique for the time in any genre. So I like it. It's great.
Yeah, they do sort of almost doo-wop kind of sound on those synths. You left me doo-wop.
Yeah.
My favorite part in that entire song is towards the end, that it won't be long.
Yeah.
When he
and then they
makes it a little extra,
Right. And it kind of shows what the Beatles were known for, their energy back in the day, pre all this.
And for saying yeah.
Yeah,
yes,
they said
they were very famous
They said
for saying
a lot.
And
What was it? In Paris, didn't they call A Hard Day's Night the boys who say yeah, yeah, yeah?
Yeah.
No,
Or
it's
the Kings
Four
of
Boys to the Wind in France.
That's right. Some country, they call it
In the Wind.
either the Kings of yeah, 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 or the boys who say yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
It's like boys who cry.
But, yeah, I mean...
I think that song is probably my favorite usage of yeah.
Yeah.
Other than She Loves You. I mean, that's the yeah, yeah goat.
This
right
is a little more
but-
chill, She Loves You.
Yeah.
As far as energy, but it still has, a lot of bravado to it, which, for back then, it was pretty rare, especially in boy rock music. At that point you had Bobby Darin's and all this. They're kind of lethargic,
I think, again, though, it's same as I saw her standing there. It's just a good, just starts off, with a bang.
Probably the best choice.
I think it's, of the songs on the album, that was probably the best choice to open it with.
Yeah.
All right. So we're going to move on now. Next up is All I've Got to Do. All right. All I've Got to Do. Excuse me. Not COVID.
Well, it's a great song, I think. Great pop song. I mean, it's, obviously John's vocals and Paul's harmonies carry the song and the lyrics, but it's still really good.
Yeah.
It's always fun to listen to.
I think it shows how much they were listening to girl groups back then.
Yeah.
Because it's not very different from any other girl group song.
That's true.
Well, I think, also, because they covered a ton of girl group songs. There's one on this album. There's at least 2 on Please Please Me. But yeah, that was...
They were like, let's write our own.
Yeah, you can definitely see the influence.
Yeah.
Y'all probably know this better than I would. Did a girl group ever cover that song?
I haven't heard of one.
Yeah, that's one of those. I don't think I've ever heard of. I think that one flies under the radar a little bit.
A little
You never
bit.
really hear anyone talk about All I've Got to Do.
It doesn't make it to across the universe like the other song does,
Yeah, it won't
or
be long as in
anything,
that movie.
things like that, you know.
Yeah.
But it is a really good song. I mean, the outro, very good.
I cover it every day in my car.
Yeah.
But,
Well, that's something.
yeah. I love the no, and then he has to like jump right into yes. It's like, he pulls it off though.
Yeah. I think it's another. It just goes to show you know if you. You know, everyone knows the Beatles' famous songs. You know, they know Eleanor Rigby or Yellow Submarine or stuff like that. They know the famous ones, the ones they play on the radio. That just goes to show, like, even their deep cuts are better than a lot of people's singles.
Oh yeah.
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 I think that this era of their career, this like pre-Revolver, Rubber Soul era, nowadays is very underrated, and people don't talk about it
Yeah.
as much as they should, because a lot of these songs are really, they're meaningful, and they're, you know, they're simple.
They're simplistic pop, but
Yeah, they're like as good as it gets for pop music.
right. This really contends with Motown of the time. So
Right. I mean, no one gave those guys at Motown a run for their money except for the Beatles.
right.
So,
So all I've got to do. Up next, here's one that probably the casual Beatles fan, as well as the diehard Beatles fan alike, is aware of. Up next is All My Loving. Right, All My Loving. I think that that's a great example of how good of musicians they were.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like the guitar on that song, I've been playing guitar since however old you are when you go into the 8th grade.
13.
So 13, and I'm 30 now. And I can't play that song at all. I'm not very good at guitar still, even though I've played it that long. But I'm definitely not good enough to play that. Especially the guitar solo is very intricate. You know?
Right.
And that's something I've heard from a lot of like really great guitar players. That like, yeah, that's a tough solo.
Yeah, I mean, especially a lot of their early songs seem particularly difficult. But I mean,
well, there's a, considering how, you know, they're written off as like just simple pop songs.
Right.
And they're just like, who even cares? You know, why do people even care this much at that point in their career?
Right.
And like, but considering how difficult what they were doing, they make it sound easy.
right.
Yeah.
Which is what really great artists always do.
Right. It's like, sorry, these are hard. I assume I don't play guitar, but you know they're hard chords to like play in succession to one another, and that's just wasn't common at all back then. Really, maybe in jazz, but in pop music, no.
Pop music, no.
Well, that's because they used a lot of jazz chords.
Right.
They would like mix in jazz with, you know, pop and blues, so it's very unique sounding, and they make it sound just effortless. But it's really difficult.
Right. I mean, a lot of people at this point wanted them to like. They were getting to the point where they kind of wanted them to fail. Are they gonna be able to do it? Again, is it just a summer fluke? You know, and they still wanted to make a bunch of money off of them, but I don't think, you know, and you think they had no idea. They were just doing things.
Well, back then, the idea of like a pop group having any real lasting power.
Exactly. Like we saw Paul McCartney and he opened with this song, and a room full of people of all ages, of all demographics or whatever, just like losing their minds over that particular song. It's like, you know, no one could have foreseen that back then.
Hearing this song makes me think of, I think it's in the anthology, they have a clip of people listening to this on the radio. And I think they have Murray the K, they show him and like people in there, and they have clips of fans or whatever, and you think like, wow, you know, how novel and unique it must have been to hear something like this back then, but now it's just run of the mill.
Yeah.
Right. It's because they took over, especially with songs like this, they took over the dialogue of the 60s to the point where people don't remember what else was going on in the 60s. You know, what set them apart.
No, yeah, there's, the Beatles are like the sound of the 60s.
Yeah.
As cliche as, that is to say.
Yeah. It's just undeniable.
Especially with songs like that, they just sort of, they were inventing the sounds that we would associate with that time period. You know.
And it's kind of funny because, like, this song does sound like these songs, like these last two albums, they kind of do sound like black and white TV and all that kind of stuff. They sound old.
Even back then, black and white TV was
new, exactly.
Yeah.
You know, they perfectly capture. Did they record this one like live in the studio like they did the first one? Or did they
I think they did a little more like, they didn't do it in one day like they did the last one. But I think they essentially, they were like, well, that's what works.
Yeah.
But they did it over a longer period of time.
Yeah, you can tell there's a little bit of double tracking on this album.
It's a goodie.
It's a good one. Staying power. Still relevant today. All right, up next, we have one, Don't Bother Me, the first song George Harrison ever wrote. Let's take a listen. All right, George Harrison famously described Don't Bother Me as crappy.
Oh.
I can understand being self-conscious of...
Yeah, especially, when the other guys in your band are Lennon McCartney.
And they're writing All My Loving or whatever.
Yeah. And it's, your first effort. And he's still a young guy. He's, 20, 21?
But that would have been...
21 yet.
Yeah.
The Yardbirds would have killed for that song.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Most people would have killed. I mean, that's like always my point with the Beatles is like, if any other, band in the 60s had come out with even Don't Bother Me,
right,
that would have been their biggest hit.
Right. It's like the Yardbirds, for example. I like them a lot, but this was on par with their best
For Your
hits.
Love is not as good or as bad as Don't Bother Me.
Yeah, I think this song is just as good as Heartful
The
of Soul.
only thing is that, Heartful of Soul, and that they do have sitar, but, George will get to that later.
Yeah.
Or they have sitar sounds on them.
But George is still ahead.
George's still ahead.
He's writing Yardbird songs before the Yardbirds were even doing pop songs.
Yeah.
But, I think...
The song itself is good.
It's
one of my favorites.
The texture of the song. I know that they probably echoed his voice because it wasn't that good, but it does a really good effect sonically.
Yeah, poor little guy.
Yeah.
He sounds off.
It's definitely...
His accent's so thick, bless him.
It's definitely not his best song. And he would, as we all know, go on to much better things.
Yeah.
But I think for a young guy...
Yeah.
Trying to keep up with two guys who are already, considered some of the greats.
Right.
It's fine.
I mean, if...
The subject of the song is, as far as, what it's about and the way he talks about, I don't want to... Leave me alone. I'm sulking over this girl or whatever.
Yeah.
It's a good way to put it. It's interesting, well written.
Yeah.
I mean, it's fine.
I mean, if you had the chance to record John and Paul's first songs they ever wrote and finish, it would probably be about this good.
Well, didn't they do that?
No, because they didn't record their first songs. The first songs they ever wrote, ever.
Oh. Yeah. It's definitely better than In Spite of All the Danger.
Yeah, that's fair.
Actually, In Spite of All the Danger is credited to McCartney Harrison.
Well, dang. See? His first song.
Real heads know that, and so Megan, I guess, is...
You are the weakest link. I'm just kidding.
Watch me be wrong about that, though.
It sounds right.
It might be Lennon Harrison. Harrison is the other credited songwriter.
Whatever.
Yeah.
I think
there's a reason why they never really recorded that song.
It's all right.
It's fine enough for some kids, right? Yeah. it definitely. Well, I mean, like in spite of all the danger, like with them, the same with George. It's like you can definitely see that it's like, yeah, this is definitely a first effort, but there's a lot of potential there.
Right. I would have been proud of it.
Yeah.
At the time, if it was me.
You'll definitely, if you keep with it, get a lot better. And George did, and John and Paul did.
Yeah.
So yeah. Don't Bother Me, fine, pretty good for a first attempt.
Yep.
Okay. Next is everybody's favorite song. Thank God it's not even 2 minutes long. Up next is Little Child.
Oh boy.
All right, so Little Child. I just looked into it, and this, I feel, answers a lot of questions about that song. Little Child was supposed to be the Ringo song on this album.
Fair enough.
Oh.
So, yeah, they did not put much care into the writing of that one. It's like, oh, it's the Ringo song.
They should have just gave it to Jerry and the Pacemakers.
Yeah, it would have been a really big hit for them. They already had the other one about children. Yeah.
I love that song.
Great song.
I've never liked that song.
Yeah.
And it's still kind of okay.
Yeah, it's like it would have been a great song for Jerry and the Pacemakers. They would have done just fine with it. It would have been on the charts.
It kind of liked it when I was a little child.
Yeah.
Because
I didn't understand. It was just...
It was talking about things I could kind of understand.
And it has a lot of
than the others.
energy, to be fair. Like, the song itself has a lot of energy.
Mm-hmm.
The solo part, is really energetic. It's very fun. You know, if they were, like, playing it live or something, it would be, like, the time where everyone goes crazy, and that would be a good time. But, like,
I kind
the
of
lyrics are just
am
really
glad
bad.
Ringo didn't sing it just because I always appreciate John's voice. So if it also had Ringo's voice on it, I'd be like, please burn this song.
And also, Ringo deserves a little bit better than to be given, you know, it's like, because when they give Ringo songs, eventually when they started giving Ringo songs, they started doing it out of love and affection.
Right.
Like, they'd be like, oh, well, Yellow Submarine, this is going to be really fun, and we're going to play with a lot of things with it, and Ringo can sing it. Or, like, with a little help from my friends and stuff like that. You know, eventually they got to a point where you can like the Ringo songs as much as you like the other songs.
Right. But yeah, it was Paul McCartney described this song as purely album filler.
Yeah.
And yeah, he ain't
Yes,
wrong.
it is.
No. Yeah.
I mean, he would know, right? And the other thing, especially as I've gotten older, what bothers me about the song is and especially you two as women, if a dude came up to you and was like, please dance with me, I'm so sad and lonely. Yeah. That doesn't work, folks. Trust me.
It probably work on me because I'm a pushover. But
He's looking for that girl.
Exactly.
I got one time.
Who does what she's told. She doesn't know how to say no to anybody.
Quit talking about me, God.
All right. So, Little Child. Up next is one of the first Beatles songs I ever heard, Till There Was You. All right, Till There Was You. I think that goes back to what you were saying earlier about how diverse their influences was.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's from a Broadway musical.
Yeah.
It's a lot different from the original. I don't know if you've heard it or
I've
seen
never
the movie.
No.
But it's not. It's a lot more upbeat than the original.
Yeah, the original is very slow.
Very slow, very pretty. So it's funny that like they would do a song like that that's like associated with like it's a female song, very feminine song. That goes back to they love their girlies.
Yeah.
So.
I was just reading Meredith Willson, who wrote The Music Man.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
She apparently made more money off the royalties from that than she ever made off of the play being performed on Broadway.
And being made into a movie.
Popular.
Yeah.
An Oscar-winning movie.
Yeah.
I'm sure it won plenty of Tonys.
And that just goes to show you, I mean, just how powerful the Beatles were and still are.
Yeah.
You know?
Was it your high school band did a Music Man overture thing? And like you told me when this part came into the overture, people were like, oh, the Beatles.
Yeah, exactly. Like we were like, I thought we weren't doing the Beatles one, you know, because it was around the time we were doing a Beatles,
Right.
and we were like,
and that's just high schoolers, and
like regular kids.
2007. You know.
Yeah.
Doing a very relatively unpopular Beatles song. Everyone's
It's a
like,
cover that
right.
they've done, you know.
Yeah. That was one of the first Beatles songs I ever heard because my uncle made a mixtape for my dad.
Oh.
And that was on there.
Yeah.
It was the live at the BBC version, but they sound basically
yeah.
identical.
Yeah.
I mean, it sounds the same every time they do it live.
There's no tracking on that recording, I don't think.
It doesn't sound like it. It sounds like they just kind of did it.
Yeah. That is funny, though, when you see the old videos and, like, Paul introduce it. He's like, this is by our favorite American group, Sophie Tucker.
Right. Yeah. It's a great cover.
Yeah. Great song. Love the guitar. It's sort of, you know, that.
Yeah.
What do you like? Sort of
Flamenco.
flamenco-y almost.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, it sounds like they're trying to go for like a mandolin sound or something.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just all around, just a solid song right there. Up next is another cover, and again, this could be controversial. I think this might be my favorite on the album.
Okay.
Please, Mr. Postman.
Okay.
All right. Yeah, I love that.
Yeah. Do you like the?
I definitely like that better than the original. Yeah. Because the original, they just like, they sing it, and it just is. John sounds like he's about to cry.
That's fair.
A fair point.
I think
He's like, please, Mr. Postman.
Yeah. I think a lot of the girl groups, I think Cool Detachment was like the genre.
Mm-hmm.
You know, too cool to really feeling thing or show too much. Except for like the Shangri-Las.
I mean,
they were very emotional.
Oh gosh, yeah, they were. But to be fair, you know, they're coming from an era where women are hysterical. So they, you know, Cool Detachment would have been the opposite of what their moms, you know, what people thought of women, and that's how they should have been to be the coolest.
Right, like Tammy was a hit a couple years ago.
Yeah.
Which is...
Yeah.
But anyway, this song, I do agree. There's at least... I think it could be a bit better.
This is another one of those...
It's more solid as, like, a track, you know.
This is another one of those, like, the last song where this song is still extremely popular as a song the Beatles covered. Like, people still listen to the original a lot, and it's still very well known, but you wonder, like, how much people remember it because the Beatles covered it.
Yeah, I mean, it's hard to say. It's like, this song's still a meme a little bit, you know.
Sort of off topic, but there's a scene in the movie that y'all refused to watch with me, Jacob's Ladder.
I'll watch it one day.
Because it's scary as hell.
Yeah.
No!
I'll watch it
And
one
Tim
day.
Robbins is a mailman, and he's delivering mail, and this group of girls just stop and they start singing it at him.
Yeah.
And Tim Robbins is like, oh, how cute. And then he gets abducted and taken to this fucked up asylum.
I do not want to see that.
I do.
Y'all have fun.
One hot summer morning when I have a whole day to recover.
Right.
Does this album feel like winter to anyone else?
And it come out in winter.
Maybe it's because I got it for Christmas.
I got it for Christmas 1 year too.
But yeah, I can feel that. But yeah, I think it came out in like February.
Yeah, it feels like I'm cold and I'm gonna stay inside and put on a record or whatever.
Yes, it's cozy.
Yeah.
Another funny story about this song. I was once on my way somewhere and I had this CD. I was listening to it in the car. And this song came on, and when it got to the wait a minute, I was just singing along at the top of my lungs in my car. And I was behind a school bus, and then I noticed all the kids on the school bus, they were like calling other kids over, like, hey, look at this dork. You know? But, you know.
That's how you know you're truly living, if a group of children laugh at you.
Yeah. And so I flipped them off.
Did you?
No, I didn't.
You should have.
I should have.
Let them little. They need to live a little.
Exactly.
As a child, you know you're living if someone flips you off. As an adult, you know you're truly living if children are laughing at you from afar.
Oh my God.
So there you go. If I ever see a kid again laughing at me for singing along with the Beatles, Birds. Birds going up. They're going to see the New York State bird, if you know what I mean. Okay. All right. Up next, another cover track.
Oh, wow.
Another George track. We're talking, of course, about Rollover Beethoven. Yeah. I mean, that's good. To me, the only real difference I hear between that and the Chuck Berry is that George sounds different.
Yeah, there's not a difference, which is funny because I'm like, that might be my favorite. Like, that might be my favorite one. It's one of the ones I like a lot.
So I really like that one, too.
On this album, but at the
I
same
don't
time,
care for it at all.
I
really.
like Chuck Berry's, like, that's one of his best songs.
Yeah.
It's one of his...
Not to me.
It's fun.
I don't really care for that song.
That's, again, I keep bringing this up, but Beatles Live at the BBC. If you're into the Beatles cover songs, then you need to get that album, because that's mostly what it is.
Yeah.
And they do, like, their cover of Johnny Be Good.
I would like to hear that. Maybe I should listen
Rocks
to
the
it.
House in
Did they
Memphis,
have it
Tennessee.
on the streaming or just YouTube?
They should.
I'm sure it's on. Is it? I've gone through their Apple Music page a trillion
It's on there,
times.
yeah.
Okay.
It's funny, though, because before the song on the album, they play a little bit where, like, whoever, you know, the announcer was on the BBC is like, George, is it true that you play Rollover Beethoven? And he goes, yes, I've been playing it for 27 years.
And to be fair, Chuck Berry's is still a lot better than their version.
Yeah, because he has so much more personality in his vocals.
Yeah.
Than George
He
does.
was
Sorry,
a grown
George.
man by that point.
Yeah.
So.
I could do without that song, honestly.
All right, well, you
I
know,
don't
sometimes
know
it's okay to be wrong. And
I'll never
It's
know
always
what my
okay when I'm
favorite
wrong.
song is while we do this until I hear it.
Yeah.
Then I'll be like, oh, this is it. So I don't know. So far, that's my favorite one.
honestly, though, Chuck Berry, Beatles, can't go wrong. Rollover Beethoven, it's a nice, old school rock and roll classic.
Yeah.
Right.
Up next, we're back to the originals, and you've got Hold Me Tight.
Oh, wait. That might be.
I was surprised just now. I looked it up while it was playing, and a lot of people don't like that song.
What? That's one of the
John Lennon and Paul McCartney did not like it at all.
They had no taste.
That's true. That's very true.
I mean, okay.
There's
fine.
nothing wrong with it. It's definitely not the best one on the album.
No,
Excuse me?
I just feel like of their like dancey, like they're supposed to be played in like dance clubs.
Yeah.
Songs.
Yeah.
Is better
I
than
like that one
Little
a lot.
Child.
That might be one of the best ones on this album.
And I like.
don't know what else is on here. I can't.
I like the
remember.
vocal melody.
Yeah.
I like when it be in here, whatever.
Yeah.
There's nothing wrong with it. You
Yeah,
know?
it's
Even if it's not the strongest song they ever wrote.
Yeah.
It's
I don't think
that's
there's anything to
fine.
be like hypercritical about.
yeah, exactly. Like, but I mean, some of the reviews that I'm looking at, people call it like ghastly and a failure.
Okay.
You know, it's like, okay, it's not that bad.
Like, get your head out your ass.
When you're that good, you're criticized that much harder.
I guess so. It's just okay. Maybe I'm a simpleton, but it doesn't bother me.
Yeah.
I mean, we're just simple country folks. But you know what? Hold Me Tight. Fine song. Nothing wrong with it.
It's fun in the car.
All right. So up next, we've got, good one. Really Got Hold on Me.
Ooh.
Yeah, that's a good one.
It is a good
That's
one.
just a good one. Again, broken record here. The live at the BBC version, the doom doo 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 is played on guitar instead of piano, and it sounds really good.
But it's not as good as the original.
No.
The Smokey Robinson.
Yes.
I like this one a lot. I think it's really great for especially to translate into the genre of rock or whatever, but no one can beat Smokey in singing, so that's just that. But I really like this one a lot.
No,
Smokey Robinson is really their only, like I think I said earlier, their only competition at this time was him and Holland Dozier Holland and Barry Gordon. And those are a lot of people competing with like two.
Yeah.
So, it doesn't say anything about them being less, because Lennon and McCartney could hold their own against a lot of people.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
They just had really stiff competition.
Yeah.
Those guys are really good.
Yeah. I think Smokey Robinson's just Smokey Robinson. That's his song, so.
Yeah, he's just amazing.
But this, like I said.
No, I mean, this is definitely not a Please Mr. Postman situation where people forget the original.
Yeah.
The original still remains, but, the Beatles took it and they did their own thing with it, and it's really great.
And I'm kind of glad because it's a good introduction, at least to the original, as a white person who didn't get exposed to Smokey Robinson by life or my culture or whatever.
Yeah.
At least the Beatles were like, hey,
exactly.
Here's this song. You like it?
Yeah, I wouldn't like Smokey Robinson if they didn't cover his song. I wouldn't have gone to listen to him at any point if the Beatles had introduced me to his music.
You ever heard Tears of a Clown?
Yeah, but I wouldn't as a child been like.
Yeah.
No,
yeah, it's like, well, now I'm a huge fan of his, but.
Smoke Man.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
All right. Well, up next is the actual Ringo track.
Oh.
I Wanna Be Your Man. All right. That's, again, same as with Boys. It's the Ringo track.
Yeah.
I think that is a little better than Boys.
Definitely.
Well, it's an original Beatles song.
Yeah.
Which
Didn't they wrote it
for the
Rolling Stones.
What do you think of their version?
Eh,
It's so funny.
garbage.
I love it.
it's so
I almost feel like they had to have done that as like a sabotage. Like told them no, sing it like this, and then it'll be really good.
No, it's the Rolling Stones couldn't touch the Beatles at that time, and I love the Rolling Stones, but
I think
you think they're like, okay, we'll give this song to the Rolling Stones, and then they heard it and they were like, okay, well, we gotta do it better because they fucked it up.
They were like, Ringo could do it better. Ringo could do it better.
They tried to put too much. It's not an R&B song. It's a pop rock song, and the Stones were just not
Brian
equipped.
tried his best, okay?
He shouldn't have, because the guitar slick is really what.
F off.
I know,
F right off.
I know, but it's just not for that song.
No. But I think it worked.
I think
for
the
their fan base
guitar
at the time.
solo in this song though was sort of punkish almost.
A little bit.
Yeah.
You could tell someone this might sound weird, but someone like Steve Van Sant or Bruce Springsteen, they were like, this is probably their favorite song when they were probably about 12 years old.
Yeah.
It's got that energy.
It's a bit of a horny song.
Oh, definitely.
This was my favorite. Like I said on the last one, this was my favorite when I was a kid because I just would force myself to. I'm like, yep, the Ringo song. That's my favorite because that's my guy.
Why did you like Ringo so much?
Because in our band, the Rats, I was the drummer.
Yeah, but that doesn't mean you have to like Ringo.
Well, in my kid brain, it's like, we were in a fraternity of
You
drummers
chose to be the
together.
drummer.
Okay, well.
You must have liked Ringo first.
I am being viciously attacked. And I won't stand for it. Pointing out things that I did to me that I forgot. I'm a white man. I don't have to stand for this.
Then sit down.
We are sitting down. We're sitting cross-legged, and it hurts because I'm old.
Yeah.
But yeah, I want to be your man.
It is what it is. It pops. It pops.
It's good. It's good. Better than Boys.
Not my favorite, but good.
All right, up next is another George song. George getting 3 on this one.
Oh, no.
We've got Devil in her heart. Yeah, that one.
I don't like it.
Yeah, I don't dislike.
I mean, it's a Beatles song.
I think
like
that's. I like George's vocal on that one. I really do.
Vocals.
See, no, I didn't like what they were doing.
I don't really like any of the song. I hate the lyrics.
Yeah. Well, it's a cover.
Yeah.
I'm not sure who did the original. To be honest.
I feel like I sound like a big blonde bouffant and a tinsel coming down my dress, just shaking my titties to this song. What's true?
Okay. But yeah, the way they describe "Hold Me Tight," that's how I feel about this song.
Yeah.
Ghastly.
Ghoulish.
Devilish.
Devilish.
I don't like it.
Yeah.
Dang.
Nah, I mean I don't feel that strongly in a negative way towards it, but I would, if it was not on the album, I would notice.
Yeah.
You know.
Got the...
Same with our next track, and watch. I'm sure that you two are both gonna love this one. Not a Second Time. All right, here we go. Yeah, that one for me, I feel like they had a good idea for a song, and if they would have just worked it a little bit longer, you know, just put it back in the album for just 15 more minutes.
That's my favorite on the album too.
Of course it is.
Of course it is.
It's very personal to me, this song, okay? I have a personal relationship to this song.
Expand on that.
Okay, well, I had a friend who broke my heart, right?
Mm-hmm.
And this song was just on my downloaded music to play in the car because I had gone through all the other ones on the album and I was tired of them. And it came on and it just hit me. And I was like, oh, that's how I feel about my friend. Oh. It was very cathartic. And
okay.
I love singing this song.
It's a very emotional song. I think it's probably the most emotional song on this album, which
just goes to show, you know, different people can get different things out of every Beatles song, every single one.
Right. I didn't care for this song too much before that.
Yeah.
So it just, I was like, oh, this song makes sense now. I see what they were going for. It just, you know, but I can agree that it doesn't seem complete.
The piano song
but I don't
goes
really
off.
The piano is good. I like the bass notes, boom, bung, bung, throughout the verses. I think that's good. But yeah, it does seem a little unfinished.
Which is good, though. I like that, you know.
Unpolished.
Yeah, when it's a little rough. Because they just needed to get it out there. They didn't need it to be perfect. It just needed to be done.
Just needed to be. All right. Well, we finally come to the end.
Really?
With money.
Oh, fine.
Parentheses. That's what I want. All right. So I could tell by your faces that that's not a favorite.
No, it's...
We agree on that.
I think it's just overplayed.
You hear it way too much.
Yeah.
Not even just their version. You just hear that song
Anytime
constantly.
in any movie someone's buying something,
Yeah.
they play this song.
It's so annoying. It's not like I hate their version of the song. I just don't like this song.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter who does this song. I do not like it.
They do it pretty well, though.
I'm sure the original's a lot better, because...
Maybe.
I've heard some versions that are a lot more interesting. I don't know who does them because I don't remember, but...
That's true.
You know, like earlier versions of the song where it's all new and shiny and all that, you know, it's like, okay, you know, whatever, but you just hear the song all the time. I don't like it.
Yeah. Well, I guess I'll just wrap that up then into my final thoughts on the album as a whole.
What were you going to say during the song?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah. I was just thinking, like, you know, I grew up listening to Screamo, and my mom come in my room and be like, where are you listening? Why are they screaming? Sounds like Satan or whatever. And I'm sure that probably happened to some kids. Like, why is he screaming? It's devil music.
Why is this man shouting?
Yeah.
You should be listening to Perry Como.
They're just banging their head on the wall like,
But yeah, so to just, I guess, sort of wrap up my whole feelings on the album is now we had a few disagreements on it, but I think that overall, I think that Please Please Me just edges this one out.
I agree.
Not for me.
Because the songs that I like,
that's fair.
the songs that I like on here, I probably like more than a lot of the songs on Please Please Me.
Yeah.
But
there are just not that many.
Please Please Me is just better from start to finish. Like this one, the last half of side 2, it really just falls off for me.
Like when Not a Second Time is really the only highlight of the second half of the album.
To some people, yeah.
Well, there's too many covers on here is what it is.
Yeah.
Like it's mostly covers.
Yeah. Please Please Me, at least like also the hits I think are, more astounding.
Mm-hmm.
Please Please Me is just kind of euphoric as a song.
Yeah.
None of them are particularly euphoric on this
And
album.
especially, like, reading about it, it's a lot of these songs were songs that they were like, we don't really want this on Please Please Me.
Yeah.
So they were already sort of, dipping into the reserves with this one.
I will say the cover is a lot better.
Oh, the cover is...
Oh, the cover's iconic.
Yeah, it's a lot better than Please Please Me. They were like, let's have a little...
Yeah, that image right there is...
satanic.
It's probably one of the most famous... one of the most famous band photos,
Yeah, it is.
Up there probably with, like, Sgt. Pepper and Abbey Road and just iconic
it's like
covers.
With other Beatles pictures.
Yeah.
But that's the one that started it, where it's like, we need to get these fellas looking dynamic.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I'm going to give it Please Please Me. But still with the Beatles, I love to throw it on. Even the song, I mean, that's the thing, is with the Beatles, with the Beatles. But with the Beatles in general, even the songs that I'm like, I don't like, I still like them.
Yeah.
It's just in comparison to others' Beatles songs.
Yeah. I mean, this album, if you're like, for me, it's like kind of a cold winter vibe. If you want that from the Beatles that
like
day,
today.
then go ahead.
Yeah. Perfect day to listen to it. A rainy February night.
Yep.
Good album for
Valentine's
that.
Day.
It's Valentine's Day.
Today is Valentine's Day?
Yes, today is Valentine's Day.
Yep.
Huh. Well, I'm so alone I didn't even notice it. But yeah, with the Beatles. I'd say that it gets B minus.
Fair.
That would be
I'll agree.
Fair enough. So next is
A Hard Day's Night,
Okay.
which is all originals.
Yeah.
So we don't
The
have
only-
that complaint next time.
Only Beatles album where all songs credited to Lennon McCartney. Every single one. No Harrison. Nobody else.
But he sings some songs.
He sings one.
One, yeah.
He gets one on there. Ringo gets 0 on that one. But getting ahead of ourselves, if you want to hear why Ringo got snubbed, what does George sing on A Hard Day's Night? Well, you're just going to have to tune in next time, folks. And with that, we'll wrap it up with the Beatles.
Bye.
Have a good one.